Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the GioMoShow, your home for all Golden Grizzlies basketball. My name is Giovanni Moceri. I am your host, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the GioMoShow to help support everything we do here, and so that you don't miss one bit of the Golden Grizzlies action. And now Spotify is kind of yelling at me, saying I got to remind you guys to especially follow on Spotify on the audio side of things, because it says I should have more followers given the way the show's going. So, satisfy the kind requests of Spotify. If you would like, a 5-star review and a follow would be greatly appreciated. So you can listen to this wherever you are. And if you don't like the look of my backwards hat and a little too casual look, you got a little Colin Cowherd in you, then no sweat. You can listen to it just the same. And we got a wild week to cover here on the GioMoShow against IU Indy and Detroit were the two games we'll cover today. And don't forget, we got a special interview, a special guest on the show, especially to cover the Detroit Mercy game. We got the TV play-by-play voice of the Detroit Mercy Titans. Jeremy Otto makes his debut on the GioMoShow, and we break down the game and kind of what Detroit is like, so that when we see them at the end of the regular season in the arena, we have a little bit of a better idea on who we're up against, and just kind of how the game was, because I was unable to attend. I was actually unable to attend either of these games. I'll just be straight up with you guys. I had Italian commitments on the Wednesday game for IU Indy, and I also had paid announcing gigs to accommodate on Saturday during the Detroit game. So, I mean, sometimes that happens, but don't worry. I got great coverage for you guys anyway. I kept a close eye on this side of things. So we'll start off. I mean, we'll get to the Detroit Mercy game in a little bit after. Once again, be sure to review the Jeremy Otto interview here. He was awesome, by the way. I love that guy. So let's talk about the IU Indy game. And you guys saw my reaction on the GioMoShow social media page, which you guys should also follow that on Twitter as well. All that's below. But I was in my little I was in my meeting with all the Italians and kind of kept an eye on the score. And I was like, whew, this game's kind of close. I mean, man, IU Indy's is ahead. And then I checked in later. I'm like, oh my God, they're still ahead. Oh my God, they're ahead by more. What? And then I'm starting to freak out. Then I'm like losing my mind here thinking, okay, we're at home. This is the 1-9 IU Indy Jaguars, a team who can't seem to keep their coach or their name for more than 2 years. And they're destroying us at home. What's going on here? And I'm texting Griffin Beers, I'm from the Horizon, and I'm trying to just get an idea of what the hell is going on in the arena. Turns out it was just the worst night possible. And it's weird when you look at the box score side of things. If you isolate just Oakland's box score, then you would think that this was a great game. Okay, at home, coming off, remember the last home game we played was the Wright State one on national TV. That was also a capital D disaster. But you look at Oakland's box score, just on its own. Isaac Garrett had 18 and 4. He was really efficient, 7 of 9 from the floor. You also had 3 Golden Grizzlies with 13 points. You had Brody Robinson with 13. You had Michael Hogue with 13. You had Brett White with 13. Brett White made 4 threes. And pretty efficient too. 47% from the field, 46% from 3. That was fantastic. 10 of 22. Oakland almost never shoots that well, especially in that high volume from deep. We got to the free throw line 30 times. Now, we did miss 19 of them, but still 19 free throws made. All of that looks great. But look at IU Indy. Look what they did. They had 5 guys in double digits, 3 of them in the 20s, and they had a 4th guy with 15. He had D'Agostino with 21 points. He now leads the league in scoring. He passed Corey Hadnot of Purdue Fort Wayne. He had 21 points. Finley Woodward had 22 points. And you look at rebounding, then my eyes start to pop out of my head. Oakland was out-rebounded by IU Indy, with our front court out-rebounded 40-29. They had 15 offensive rebounds. They had 31 assists and only 10 turnovers. And even Oakland only had 10 turnovers, so that's even. And I'm looking all the way around. 60% from the field, 50% from 3. They only made 2 free throws. 2 of 3 from the line in the arena when Oakland was 19 of 30. Unbelievable. I'm still in disbelief on how this game happened. How I mean, everybody must have been convinced that this was going to be a blowout game, that this one was going to be a cakewalk. But you got to understand, tons of times in the Horizon League, this kind of stuff happens. Teams are overlooked when it comes to preparation, and they do get embarrassed. They embarrass and upset teams all the time. Remember, Horizon League champions, they like pretty much all of them, now with the 20-game schedule, have 5 losses. Some of them are to garbage teams like IU Indy. And this one was that game today, or on Wednesday, for Oakland. 103-85 was the final score. That's now 2 home games in a row where eggs were laid. That the fans that actually showed up were horribly disappointed and disgusted. I would be shocked. I'm going to be harsh here. I'm going to be shocked if anyone's coming back for the next home game. Anybody who was at both those games, I would be shocked if they returned. Because why would they if that's the performance on the court that they're getting when they spend their evening or their afternoon in the arena? I would love to see the arena packed all the time, every game. You guys know that about me. I hope this doesn't sound like I'm turning my back on it. But I'm going to be honest. Why would anyone come back? It's just crazy to me. So that is just a vomit-inducing type of game that luckily the schedule had us face Detroit Mercy coming up next. There are a few games in the Horizon League schedule that can kind of wash a bad taste out of your mouth, like a Detroit Mercy game. Like, because there's just so much attention to it. There's so much, like the rivalry sense of things. As much as Campy wants to downplay it, it is there. There is a buzz. There is juice, especially this year, where luckily, if a good performance is had, that can kind of let everybody forget about the IU Indy game. Now, I didn't forget because it's my job not to forget. I got to tell you guys what I think about it. But luckily, that's what kind of happened for their next game when they went to Calihan Hall and won for the 11th straight time. You see, now you get the smile on my face if you're watching on YouTube. If you're just listening, then hey, that's fine. Be sure to 5-star. But either way, the vibes are just completely flipped, and it's almost like all is forgiven once you beat Detroit Mercy at home. And one more point just before we get into that game there. The craziest thing, this was just a wild week in the Horizon League. I'm going to be on the Horizon Roundtable later tonight as of this recording with Jim Sarra. We'll talk about everything in the Horizon League for the Horizon Roundtable. But Oakland was not the only top team to get upset. In fact, a ton of teams got upset for this week. And, on that Wednesday especially, because not only did Oakland lose to IU Indy at home, but Wright State lost to Cleveland State at home. So that also is just nasty because of the opportunity that Oakland had to jump Wright State. If they won and Wright State lost, then, and I forget, tiebreakers aside, just straight record-wise, Oakland would have been in first place. But you can also think that is a good thing because, okay, we didn't lose any ground. Well, you had the opportunity to gain ground too. It's just, all of it was so frustrating. But luckily, now we'll get to the Detroit Mercy side of things. Luckily, we're able to kind of wash that bad taste out of our mouth. 95-87 is your final score. The Golden Grizzlies win their 11th straight in Calihan Hall, and it was fun. I didn't get to watch it live. I listened to the first half on the radio. I kept up with the box score during the hockey game I was announcing for Chippewa Valley United. And man, even then, it was still super fun to watch. Trash talk on social media for this game was awesome. I loved it because, well, first of all, I'll give both like fan bases credit. Both the Barstool pages a lot of credit. It was clean. It wasn't. It bordered on nasty and mean. It was just like at the perfect spot between, it's trash talk, yes, but it's not cursing. It's not, anything obscene. It's fun stuff like, oh, if you're scared to live in Detroit, go to Oakland. It comes with a baby bottle and a blanket, your application. Stuff like that. And, just 11 straight wins in Calihan Hall, that kind of trash talk. Like it hit the right note. It was the perfect heat, the perfect intensity. I was really happy to see, like, just on both sides of it. Obviously, I'm biased. Obviously, obviously I'm a fan on this show here, even though I try to keep it a little bit level-headed, but I just loved all of that. The build up to it, it paid off in Calihan Hall. The energy, Jeremy Otto told me, was the loudest in, 5 to 6 years, or maybe he said 6 to 7, but I don't want to say the numbers. But he said it was the loudest that place has been in a long time. The crowd was feeling it. Oakland especially was feeling it. I heard on the radio Brody Robinson chirping at the Detroit crowd. He especially just loves that kind of energy. He's mentioned it to us at home games where he feeds off that kind of energy. And that energy was there in the Calihan Hall too. He was feeding off of that too, and he performed at a level that reflects that too. But it was, before we get into the box score, just kind of the game flow side of things, this one was a white hot start. It was so fast. You were into like 15, 16 points by the first media timeout, or within the first few minutes of the game. Shot after shot. You had TJ Nadeau on Detroit sinking threes. I think he was 4 or 5 from deep to start. Brody, and Brett White, they seemed to be matching that too. They didn't end up with super good three-point shooting splits, but early on, the heat was on. And it kept burning. But Oakland was able to get to the free throw line, even on the road, a ton more than Detroit Mercy did. And that really helped them separate. That helped them play their game, make more than they take as far as free throws goes. That's Campy's goal always. And that's what they have been able to do in a lot of games this season too. But especially tonight, or especially that night. And just kind of slowly but surely, a one-possession game back and forth in the first half kind of started to become a two-possession in the second half lead for Oakland. And it just kind of slowly kept building it towards 9 to 10 points. And luckily, it was enough for Oakland to kind of keep up the pace, bring them to the stratosphere where they couldn't breathe and they had to come back down. That's what it felt like. Sometimes Oakland will play so fast and score so many points that it's just... the other team just does not have the horsepower to match it. They weren't making the shots to match it. Although everybody shot pretty well in this game, especially Detroit's side. I mean, Detroit did shoot really well in this game to start and a little bit less so to finish, but still really good. And Oakland cruised to 95 to 87. I mean, it was fun. I really wish I could have been there, man. Oh, dude, it would have been so sweet. Luckily, we'll have our chance in the arena when they play the final game of the regular season, which, kind of brings back a nugget from when we won the regular season in 24. That clinching game, the outright regular season championship, was won at home against Detroit Mercy. I was there with my own eyes. I ran into Woodward Sports guys while I was there. I had a whiteboard shouting at their Italian player. Like I can see, especially with the way the season's gone so far, I can see that similar situation happening. Could Detroit Mercy give Oakland 2 regular season titles at home in the past 3 years? We'll see. Something to keep in mind. So we'll get to the box score rundown here for this game. Brody Robinson and Zaire Wells, 24 points each. That is an Oakland high for Zaire. Brody has scored more before, but still a great performance. Brody, a point guard double-double, 24 points and 10 assists. He had 3 rebounds, made all 9 of his free throws too. For whatever reason, in some games he might struggle from the free throw line. Struggle relative to what an Oakland point guard would, which is, into the 80s and 90s percent. But he made 100% of them against them. 6 of 12 from the floor. He is extremely reliable. And honestly, when I was getting ready for the Horizon Round Table and I'm looking at the kind of overall, stat leaders of the league, very quietly, Brody's top 5 in scoring. And I say quietly because there's, the past few games, he's kind of taken a back seat to the front court. And sometimes that's just all he needs to do. He knows that. He knows that he doesn't have to be Superman at all times and sometimes just let the big dogs eat. But, quietly, he's just, he's at 18 points per game in conference play on average. That's top 5. 24 points in all 40 minutes. He played 40 minutes? I mean, whatever, round it up, or, maybe played 39 something, but he played every minute of that game, it looks like. And Zaire Wells, him scoring 24, a Oakland career high, that dude is smooth, man. I love his game, and especially, me just kind of seeing him play in the arena. The dude floats. He flies. When he's up in the air, when he's in transition, it feels like he's in the air for 10 full seconds when he's up in the air. And Campy gave him a lot of props because on a lot of times he said that Zaire really performs well in finesse type of games, but not so much in kind of brutal physical games like this one against Detroit Mercy was. But in this game, in that kind of physical environment, he was really impressed with Zaire being able to still perform in that kind of setting too, kind of opening up and showing what he can do. He is phenomenal, and he's a ton of fun to watch. He was 11 of 13 from the field in this game. He scored 24 points on only 13 shots and only made a single free throw, only an and one. So it's not like the 24 points that Brody scored where, still good, 50% from the floor, but 9 free throws. No, this was efficient as efficient gets. 11 of 13 with 1 free throw, 24 points. Boom. 3 rebounds and 3 assists and 2 steals all over the place. I love this guy, Z. Then you also got Baru, 16 points, 8 rebounds, 5 of 10 from the floor. Made all of his free throws too, 6 of 6. Now, Baru's especially struggled from the free throw line for an Oakland big, and Campy always values the free throws and, when he's recruiting. But for whatever reason this season, Baru has been struggling from that, but not in this one, not in this environment. So, and he also had 2 assists and a steal to make up the top 3 scoring for Oakland. Now, Hogue, I'll give Hogue some credit too. 15 points and 6 rebounds with a steal himself. 5 of 9 from the floor. Made a 3 in this one. He made one in Milwaukee too. If not the game before, but like he sneaks in a 3 every now and then. Not often, but somewhat often enough. But he was 1 of 2 from deep. This being the hometown game for him, that was especially a lot of fun. And it seems like he always gets going early. It seems like he always gets the first few points in these kind of games where he's just kind of shot out of a cannon, gets Oakland a lead, and then everybody else starts to build on it. But a great 15-point performance from Michael Hogue. Now notice that I did not mention Isaac Garrett. Very rare for Oakland. For their I think he's their conference leading, or no, it would be Brody, but still their second leading scorer. And, one of their biggest names, biggest recruits, he's their top rebounder. That's for sure. But I didn't mention him a bunch in this game because he only played 23 minutes. And during that time, he was 6 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. But he turned his ankle. Now, I didn't see the play. I didn't see how bad it was. But can't be mentioned that he's at least not going to be playing against Purdue Fort Wayne on Wednesday. So he's going to be missing some time with that ankle. And he didn't finish the rest of the game, which also makes the way the game went even more impressive because, you're missing one of your best players and you're still able to keep up the pace, still able to score 95 points. And now Detroit's not a fantastic defensive team like we are, or excuse me. Well, let me phrase it this way. I think it's kind of a funny phrasing. They're not a great defensive team like we are not a great defensive team. That's what I mean. I was looking at the stats before the game. We were like pretty much even, like 7th and 8th place in the league in defense, allowing like 80 points a game. But still, without one of your biggest offensive machines, you're still able to get it done. And I will say this for Detroit Mercy as well. Jeremy Otto mentioned this. Their big man, London Maiden, did not play in this one. He had the flu. He was sick. He couldn't play. He is a big physical presence, and that's why Oakland was able to score 50 points in the paint in this game, really taking advantage of him being gone. And it's something that, when they play in the arena, if he is also playing, make sure to keep an eye on that. See how it changes. See if we have to be forced to the outside a little bit more, or do we just continue to berate them on the inside? I mean, it's something to keep a note of on February 28th when we play him again. But that was a huge leg up for Oakland. But still, meanwhile, Legend Jeter, 24 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists. You had Tyler Spratt, 21 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. And, Orlando Lovejoy was kind of kept under wraps, 8 points, but still, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, a steal. Lovejoy's everywhere at all times. And TJ Nadeau was on fire, like I mentioned before. He was like 4 of 5 from 3 to start the game. He ended at 4 of 8 from deep. A local kid. I was really impressed with him his freshman year, and he's continuing that to be kind of one of their leading guys on that Detroit team. If he could come back for a third year, and it's still like his third year, junior year for Detroit, then that could be scary. As far as having an established guard in that system, all with the same coach. He didn't have any Mike Davis with him. He was there when Mark Montgomery first got there as a freshman, played a lot that freshman year. Now he's playing a lot and really contributing in the sophomore year. Just I love what TJ Nadeau presents, along with a ton of the other guys that they've been able to return for this season. So a little bit extra analysis, a little bit of extra discussion for this game, but I think it's deserving of such. But at the end of it, 95-87 was your final score. 11 straight wins for Oakland in Calihan Hall, which it's weird that we always win there, but if any time we lose to them, it's at the arena. Like that one's weird. I remember there was like a 37-point Antoine Davis game that we played in the arena that was just, we got doors blown off us. I think like 2 or 3 years ago. It was strange, but still the Detroit streak goes on. And now Oakland is faced with a great challenge. Coming up in their next game, they'll face Purdue-Fort Wayne. Winner 5 straight in a row. Purdue-Fort Wayne is hot. We already have a win against them in those early Horizon League games. We beat them in the arena. It was like 102-90-something. High-scoring game. But, Purdue-Fort Wayne is one of those teams where their offense is pretty on par with us. They shoot the lights out. They lead the league in 3 points made and attempted. I'm pretty sure if not 1 or 2, but they're always like that. They always shoot like crazy. Luckily, Oakland this season has been one of the best teams in defending the three, by like a whole 3%. I think going into the Detroit game, I didn't see the updated stats, but they were allowing only 30.3% from deep. And the next place, the second place, best 3-point defending was like 33%. So it was a pretty big gap for Oakland defending that. But Fort Wayne always ends up getting their share from deep. So it's going to be, a hard game. It's a hard game. They're also one of the top teams in the league. 5 straight. They've launched themselves right behind Oakland in the standings. So this one's going to be huge. If you could get a sweep on Purdue-Fort Wayne, that's a good tiebreaker to have. You don't have it against Wright State, and I'm going to mention it pretty much for the rest of the season, but you don't have it against Wright State, so you got to make sure you get it against all the other teams that you've already have one win against, Fort Wayne being one of them. So that game comes up on Wednesday. That's at 7 o'clock from Fort Wayne, Indiana. And the next game coming up, or the game after that, will be February 1st, Sunday at 3 o'clock. They'll be hosting Northern Kentucky. Another team with a chance that is also up there in the standings. They're kind of like the best of the middle. I think they're 5th in the Horizon League right now. It's kind of a log jam between 5 through 8. Any of those teams could get the 5th place seed and still get a home game in the tournament. But to get a 2-0 record, a tiebreaker against Northern Kentucky will also really help things if any tiebreaker comes to be. And it can kind of help you get some separation in the standings too as we continue our chase of Wright State. So those will be the 2 games that we cover next time here on the GioMoShow. Wednesday at Purdue-Fort Wayne and Sunday at home against Northern Kentucky. Those are going to be some tough games. Luckily, after those 2 games, I get to wash it down with Cleveland State on the road and Youngstown at home. But still, tough 2 games coming up. So be sure to rate, review, and subscribe here to the GioMoShow. Follow the Instagram at the GioMoShow. Be sure to follow on Twitter at GioMoSherry WXOU. 5-star review on Spotify. Follow us here. Turn the notifications on. Whatever you need to do, get yourself some GioMoShow Golden Grizzlies basketball coverage. Feel free to do it. My name is Giovanni Moceri here for the GioMoShow, and we'll see you next time.